Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks. Thank you for listening to the show, coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky, here in the Waterstone studio. One thing I love about doing Off the Cuff is bringing on guests. I like bringing on a guest. I like interviewing them, and I think my listeners like it too. And that's what I'm going to do today for you. I'm going to bring on a guest, Andrew Brockman from the band MOJOTHUNDER from right here in Lexington, Kentucky. They're a band that's been around for about 2 years, and the bass player, Andrew, is here on the show to talk about his band, and we're going to get to know Andrew a little bit. So I hope everybody enjoys the interview of Andrew Brockman, the bassman for MOJOTHUNDER. In the studio with me, a good friend of mine, Scott Clark, who I'm going to get to in just a second, but I am happy to have a member of the band MOJOTHUNDER in the studio with me, Andrew Brockman. He plays the bass for the band. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great, man. I'm happy to be on the show. Appreciate the opportunity.
I want to thank you for doing the show, first of all. It's awesome for you to stop by the studio. You're here in person. It's not many interviews that I get to do in person. It's mostly on the phone, so I appreciate you coming to the studio and doing it with me.
Oh, absolutely. In person's way better, always.
It always is, man. So you're here to represent the band, the rock and roll band that you got going on, MOJOTHUNDER. And you guys describe yourself as rock and roll, right? Why do you describe yourself as rock and roll?
Oh, well, you know, when I think of the music, I think it rocks a little bit. I think it rolls as well. And that way, it's a little bit of rock and roll. No, I think it's a good staple of music to define, you know, like the Faces was a great band growing up for me, the Stones.
Yeah.
I picture those like early rock and roll birds as like rock and roll, you know, the classic Zeppelin, which is obvious and generic, but
when I look
for a reason.
When I look at you, I see Leonard Skinner. That's what I see. I see some Southern soul in you.
Absolutely, you know. And one of the beautiful things about the band is, you know, it's not all one like staple thing, like constantly over and over again. We like to play what we're feeling from time to time, and so that creates different kind of styles, different kind of, you know, background influences, and it's really been a great thing to see in my band, actually.
So your band, it's a hometown band, Lexington, Kentucky. Now, all the members, are they from Lexington?
Actually, none of us are from Lexington, but we all just met each other in Lexington.
Okay.
And decided to live together in a house here in Lex. You know, Bryson, he's from Somerset, Kentucky, and Zach is actually from McCreary. That's the guitar player and the drummer. And I myself am from Nicholasville. You know, I met those guys. Wasn't 2 years ago when I asked to do a bunch of shitty drugs in a bathroom with one of them, and it kind of went over really well.
Did this happen in Nicholasville?
It happened in Lexington.
Okay.
The bar has remodeled itself from then. I wasn't allowed back then, but I'm allowed at that bar today, and It feels good.
No, nice. So Nicholasville, did you go to East or West?
I went to East, even though I lived in West District, so I kind of got the best of both worlds in that time.
What year did you graduate high school?
2011.
So you probably know a lot of my people, a lot of people I hang around from.
Oh, word, yeah. Who do you know?
Let's see. I know Zach Conn. Do you know Zach Conn? Jordan Canasser.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Do you know?
Shout out.
Here we are, man.
Yeah, let's see. Ryan Stanford.
Oh, my goodness.
You know Ryan
You're going to go right down my avenue, man. How are you going to do this?
And I'm trying to think.
Any embarrassing anecdotes, you know?
I don't know.
Chad Rainwater. You know Chad Rainwater?
I think he actually might have lived in my neighborhood.
Yeah, he lives in Nicholasville right now. Him and his wife just moved back there.
I mean, it's a great place to settle down.
Justin McFarland. Did you know that?
That dude's a wild child.
That cat is wild. a lot of yeah. And then Scott Clark's in the studio too.
Thanks for having me, Banks.
It's your second time in the studio, man.
It is. It's been probably like 3 years, something like that, since the last time.
Yeah. You were in here with Lamar and Whitehead and myself, and we were doing a show. You actually performed. You had a band.
I was telling him about that earlier. Yeah, we're not together anymore, but my band, Chagrin, we were together about 4 years ago, and I actually was the drummer in that band, but I wanted to get a little airtime in on Off the Cuff here with Adam Banks, you know. try to get my name out there over the radio waves, I guess.
Drummer for hire right here.
Yeah, if anyone needs a beat machine, man, just holler at me. I got all the makings.
All right, so Andrew, your band, MOJOTHUNDER, how long have you guys been doing this?
About 2 years now. I think a little under, if not on the dot, So it's been going great. We've already got an album out. Put it on Apple Music, Spotify. It's just self-titled. It's MOJOTHUNDER by MOJOTHUNDER. Easy.
Is this your first debut album?
This is the first debut album, and this is, I lost my album virginity, you could say, because this is my first album ever recording with a band, and I'm very proud to say that, I'm on this track.
This music, is it cover music? Is it songs
it's
you guys
all
originally
originals, definitely influenced by, the old school cats, but kind of with a modern feel, because, I don't know, I guess we've also listened to modern music, trying to get that whole broad spectrum of everything.
So MOJOTHUNDER, how did you guys come together? You met in Lexington. You're all scattered off from different places. How did you guys meet up and say, okay, let's start a band?
Well, Zach, the drummer, and the guitarist Bryson, they both were hanging out, and they were trying to get a band together, and they met on Craigslist.
Okay.
Which, one of the 1 out of 100 it worked for.
Yeah.
They met on Craigslist.
Met on Craigslist.
Pretty crazy that actually worked out.
They make movies about why not to do that.
How random and rare that is, right?
They do. Have you seen it, Clark? It's like a Lifetime movie. It's called like the Craigslist Killer, man. But anyway, I'm sorry. So the Craigslist.
So that's how they met, and I just come stumbling in, and ironically enough, they were looking for a bass player, and the first song I played with them was Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath, and I think they were just amazed and thought, oh, this guy gets it, and kind of went with that kind of style of music together for a little bit.
I got to throw this in there, man. So I've known Zach, the drummer, for probably about 6 years or so. My girlfriend actually at the time. Oh, somebody's phone's going off here.
That's the studio cell phone. No.
So moving right along, sorry about that, guys. So moving right along, I had actually known Zach for about 6 years, and I knew that they had this band, and there was another guy that was playing bass at the time, about 2 years ago, right before Andrew came in. And now, when you look at these guys, they're just rock and roll, man. There's no other way to describe them, really. So their bass player kind of didn't fit the mold. He just didn't look like the rest of the band.
What did he look like, Clark? Was he old? Was he young?
No, he was young. He had short hair, unlike everyone else in the band.
Yeah, you gotta have long hair to be in your band.
Long hair don't care.
Yeah.
He wore his strap on his bass guitar way up high, and he looked more like a guy that was like a studio musician. And then the first show that I see after they picked up Andrew playing bass, it's like you see this guy doing his pelvic thrust, man, and he's rock and rolling, baby, and it just fit.
That's what this band is. It's pure rock and roll.
Rock and roll, man.
To the bone.
Yeah.
I've heard a little bit of your music. You guys it's old fashioned rock and roll. It reminds me a lot. See, rock and roll, I would say at its greatest, you probably would have to agree, Andrew, at this. At its greatest was in the 70s and 80s. Because you got to think you had AC/DC, you had Skinner, you had all the bands, man, rock and rolling back then. But now you guys are taking a piece of that and putting it now to this new generation. I like it.
For sure. I mean, I think one thing that I've noticed with people with music is nowadays no one's stuck to one genre of music. Everybody kind of listens to everything. Every time I ask somebody, hey, what kind of music do you listen to? They're always like, oh, I'll listen to a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
but what does that actually mean? You just listen kind of all over the place because it's so easy to obtain at this point in life. And I think that one thing that a lot of people do still listen to is old rock and roll. And since no one's doing it, why not be one of those bands who comes out and says, hey, we can make more of this. You know what I mean?
Do you all practice in a garage? I just picture a rock and roll. I just picture you guys jamming out in a garage.
It's in the basement.
It's in a basement.
Yeah,
basement rock, right?
Exactly. It would either have to be a basement or a garage.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we live together, we'll wake up, have some beers or, hang outside and smoke a couple cigarettes and just randomly, let's go down and play some tunes just for fun, you know. And that's kind of where the writing process comes in, is just by like fun, get out.
Yeah, what I see here. Okay, so like what this is a music video, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You can find it on YouTube. Our Facebook page has it as well, even our website.
So when I asked you about this, you described this video as very pro tobacco.
Absolutely, you know, let's get partying.
I mean, let's face it. Unless you're that like 1%er, whenever you drink, you smoke cigarettes.
Yeah,
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, people always say I only smoke when I drink.
Yeah, no.
Which I know those people, but you know,
you never hear somebody say, "Oh, I only drink." Like, I drink, I don't smoke. Like, I drink a lot, but I smoke a pack a day myself. So,
if you are going to be true pure rock and roll, you have to smoke cigarettes and you have to drink liquor and drink beer. I mean, that's what they did.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I'm glad that you're rejuvenating like the rock and roll style. So. Where can your music be found? Is it found on Facebook? Where else?
You can find it on Apple Music. We've got an album up. Same with Spotify. We also sell CDs at every show. I think the most recent one we have is with Jackal, September 16th coming up. And then I think the next show we have is in November, and that'll be a charity event for like a local dog organization here in town.
Yeah,
orphan dogs.
That show with Jackal, you said that's the Manchester Music Hall. It's probably like $20, $30, $30 probably for
sure.
the night. I mean,
you're gonna see an old band from the '80s do a chainsaw solo and check out our band. You're welcome to.
So this is the first charity event that you're having.
Yeah, here in November. It'll be November 24th. All the proceeds, it'll be a raffle. You can win some cool prizes with local organizations and like restaurants along the area.
Okay, and what's it support?
It supports this local dog organization that like helps orphan dogs and helps them find a home and puts them in pounds, gives them the shots they need.
I love that.
Takes care of them. We know the guy pretty well. Honestly, don't know his name, but he's good friends with one of the members in the band, and he promised that all the proceeds would go straight to the dogs. He's not going to take any of the money.
I love that. So I'm assuming you're a dog person, and all of you guys are dog persons.
I just feel like animals is like so innocent, and who doesn't love something that can't help themselves almost.
Yeah, I do love animals. No, I'm not really a big cat person.
Cats.
Cats. I mean, they freak me out, man.
They can get a little wonky.
Yeah, their eyes and the way they hiss at you.
Right.
And have you ever been around a cat that just gave birth?
What?
Because they will very much protect their
Be careful with those kittens.
Yes, those
kitties.
Yeah, and one time I was just a kid, and it scarred me for life with cats. Like, I walked around a cat who apparently just gave birth to a litter of kittens, and she attacked me. She hissed. I mean, it was just like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. So like ever since then, like cats. Now when I see them on the road, I'll swerve to hit them.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. My audience,
we do not endorse animal cruelty.
People will write me now and be like, "I can't believe you said that." I'm kidding. I really don't swerve to hit cats. I just I won't pet your cat. Like I love dogs. I'm a big dog person. So I love your organization. That's really cool. That's really cool. So, are you guys planning on any type of tour in the future?
Lately, what we've been doing is we've been working some mediocre jobs during the week and making most of our money on the weekends playing out of town. We've been going to Chicago, Nashville, Memphis, some of these bigger cities, and just kind of making our money on the weekends through the band, kind of building up that money to make a big tour around the U.S. to get to some parts that I didn't think I'd be able to see growing up. I want to make it to Texas and California, which only way to do that is a giant loop, and just
travel
6 months, 8 months out of the year for a big tour like that is definitely the goal.
Yeah. So are you only playing music? Is that what you're doing full time 24/7?
That's absolutely the goal, but at the moment, it's kind of we do a little bit here on the side, A couple of us are some groundskeepers at UK, and I myself am a server.
Oh, nice.
So, I make a little bit of money through that, for some fun activities that I want to do. But, for the most part, the way we sustain is through the band.
Yeah. I love that, man. And I can't wait for you guys to go on top of the road and travel around. It looks like that you're well known because flipping through your social media, I'm seeing not just hundreds of listens and hundreds of views. I'm seeing thousands.
Oh, where? Yeah.
That's
good to know.
So like,
honestly, I haven't checked it in a while. It's good to hear.
yeah. It's like you guys are pretty popular. Look at this. Just Jackal. What's Jackal?
Jackal, that's a band. I think they're from the '80s. They had a couple big hits. A couple of them still play on the radio. But
They got that one song with the chainsaw.
they got a
solo.
chainsaw solo. It's pretty well known. It's called Lumberjacks. Pretty cool too.
I like it. Yeah. So I wish that I could have you performing here on the show. I'm going to get you guys back on because I want your whole band.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what we
They're
could
great
do.
guys.
Yeah. I'll tell you what we could do. Yeah, is you said I'm invited to this charity event, the dog organization.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll bring my cat to it. That would be a good that'd be a good idea.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sacrifice it on stage.
Let some people pet it because obviously it's not getting petted.
It's
so
not.
you need it to get petted by at least some people.
Yeah.
Bring it to the show. We'll get a big pet going on. Yeah.
Let it socialize with the dogs. You know how
Yeah,
cats and
hang
dogs
out,
get along. No. But in all seriousness, I will come to the show. Maybe when your whole band is together, you guys can perform, and I'll get you on the show. I'll sneak in my recorder somehow and get you on the show. I mean, or I could hook up equipment in the studio and get you guys
Well, we'll
in.
definitely get it together.
Yeah, like Clark. Clark brought his whole band in and performed at the show.
Hey,
No, I'm kidding. It was him and his guitar, and you jammed out, Clark.
Actually, I hadn't listened to it in years, man. And when I saw you that night downtown and went back and played that, I was kind of surprised with myself. Not really much.
Wait a minute, all my chops were good.
Yeah, I'm not really a
You were on
singer.
point.
It sounded pretty good.
It
yeah.
did.
Good sound quality and everything.
If I could pull that up right now, I would pull it up. Yeah, but maybe Clark can be in the band, but I think you got to grow long hair. But maybe you can.
You already know.
Yeah, they got the slot filled on the drummer, at least at the moment. So, I'm going to have to put together my own gig. But, shout out to all those musicians out there, man. I'm interested in about anything, anything from bluegrass to ska, reggae style music, punk, rock and roll, of course, a little bit of metal. Not really much on like the Norwegian death, black, Satan metal or whatever, but everything other than Tool's my favorite band. I like Pink Floyd, Sublime.
Yeah.
Cool musics.
I'm digging it. So, Andrew, do you have any crazy fan interactions? Because you guys are getting out there, you're getting popular. Have you had anything crazy
the
happen?
last time we played in Manchester, I got to sign my first boob. That was probably a great fan interaction that I was very pleased to be with.
That's always nice. I always wondered what that would be like. I hope to get to that point one day. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get carried away with it. You draw that name just huge,
Nobody licking your car, or you heard about like these UK basketball players. They have women lick the handle on their car door.
To get a taste.
Just to get a little taste. I'm like, what are they doing?
Little do they know that's bird shit. But.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about anything on that extent, but I've definitely had some women do some pretty obnoxious and crazy things.
Yeah.
I gotta hear a good example here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For instance, one of the girl who actually let us sign her boobs was just begging to go home with me and Bryson, the guitar player, and right in front of this guy that she was clearly involved with. The dude basically looked at both of us and told us that that we couldn't take her home because he was in love with her and to just be careful. And so we basically were like, absolutely, we're not trying to do anything. You're talking about a woman who just came up and said, hey, sign my boobs. Of course I'll sign your boobs, but that's about as far as it's going to go. Clearly I know what kind of class this woman has in her life, but all in all, it's not like they throw themselves, but they definitely are drooling.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing,
Man, I swear, there's one talent that I wish that I could have picked up on, and that's music. Because if women have always been attracted to men who can play guitar, do bass, sing, I'm like, I can't do any. Clark, you can play the freaking drums, man.
I thought he was gonna forget about me over here.
Yeah, Andrew, you're a bass. Do you do anything else besides the bass?
Well, I'm known for bassing, but I'm also very well known for dancing. These hips do not lie.
Dude, I mean, people, Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, Usher.
Big influences, when you're on stage, it's not just music, it's a show.
It is a show.
You got to give it to them.
The best shows, you got to give it to them. You gotta
Absolutely.
Yeah, I liked it when AC/DC would get on stage, man. They would jump around like little, like Angus Young would jump around.
Oh, you go nuts.
AC/DC, man, that's a great example. It's funny, all right, your all's band is named Mojo Thunder. When you think about the words Mojo Thunder, you think about some electrifying fucking jam, mojo, whatever it is, Like AC/DC, what does that sound like?
Voltage,
high voltage, electricity.
Turn it up. Turn
the
voltage up, right?
Man. That's...
Yeah. Mojo Thunder, I see what you're saying. Like, it's like...
It sounds very sexual.
It's getting ready to crack. Thunder, man. Boom.
I don't know if it's going to be gentle or not, but I'm going to like it either way.
Mojo Thunder. Yes, I like it, dude. Mojo Thunder. How did you come up with the name?
It's just one of those things. It's a bunch of trial and error. You go through so many names trying to come up with one for a band, and so many times I was like, "Oh, this is it." Terrible. And then somebody once threw that name out, and we were like,
"The Purple Kittens."
That kind of's got a ring, like let's take that. Yeah. But
the Purple Kittens.
Purple Kittens. We could have probably done that. Yeah.
Yes, man. That's all, the Mojo Thunder. I do like it though. So how involved are you in the creative process with your videos and your songs? Is there a song specifically that's on the album that you wrote?
Well, the most beautiful thing about the band is every time we've written every song, each person in the band will come up with an idea and we'll all run with it, but everyone's in charge of creating their own part, and no one has any questions. They just kind of trust each other on that. So if the guitar player wrote a riff and we build the song around it, he completely trusts us to do what we do to what he has. And same with if I wrote a riff or if the drummer has an idea or the singer, but it all comes together basically just with trust, which is an amazing thing because all the bands I've ever played in, I've never had this amount of freedom to write, as much as we all do, which is amazing. But,
so is it hard though, being in a band, because you got to rely on so many other people to show up, to come to practice, to come to the performance, and aren't you ever worried oh shit, what if somebody quits on us? Do we
True.
How do you deal with that, being a part of that big of a group?
Well,
move on.
The dude's I hope the drummer quits.
It's just like when you're on stage, man. You never stop. It doesn't matter what's going on.
Absolutely.
You don't stop. Somebody messes up so big that everybody in the building actually notices for a change, because most of the time you're the only person that notices. You'd be surprised, but you just don't stop. Did I say it best? I don't know.
It's not about how much you mess up, it's how you recover.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never really thought too much about that because the dudes I'm living with are hungry.
Yeah.
And we're ready to eat.
You're all wanting the same thing.
Yes,
It makes it easy.
So, absolutely. If you got to drive for any kind of thing in life, whether it's music, sports, knowledge, anything you want to go about, if you have the hunger and you try, you'll get as much out of it as you can.
Okay, so where all can we? I want you to do a little promotion for yourself. I want you to let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter, Facebook,
any of the
links,
social medias. You talk about Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. We have our own website, just Mojo Thunder. It's all one word. You search that on any of those, you're gonna find any social medias. We've got it going on. Just find us, hit us up, give us a like. Really appreciate it. Makes me feel liked.
Oh yeah, man! I definitely am going to download all this stuff that I got, because I like
Spotify
the Facebook
and Apple
page.
Music.
Yeah, and I'm glad I come across you. And
for
your
sure.
music,
Thank you for having me.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah, and it was nice to have you in the studio, man. I appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you back, man.
Thanks. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey,
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. All right, I want to thank everyone for listening to the show. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Andrew Brockman from Mojo Thunder. I know I did. He's a pretty cool guy. It was also good to see Scott Clark in the studio. Love that guy. I've known that guy for years. Since I was 19 years old is when I met Clark. So I've known Clark for 11 years. So it was good to see Clark. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to this show. Thank you for listening to this episode with Andrew Brockman. Always good to have him. And I'm going to close us out with some music. Something for Nothing by Mojo Thunder.